Let's do paper 2. So what are the instructions given in this paper? Answer 10 questions, selecting 5 questions from part A and 5 questions from part B. And write the relevant steps and the correct units in answering the questions. And each question carries 10 marks. And what are the 2 important formulae given in this paper? The volume of a right circular cylinder of base radius r and height h is pi r squared h, and the volume of a sphere of radius r is 4/3 pi r cube. So you don't have to memorize all these. You can refer these 2 formulae. So let's take question number 1. Question number 1 is a graph question. So you have to draw the quadratic graph and answer the questions using the graph. So you can ask for a graph paper. So let's take the first one. An incomplete table of y values corresponding to several x values of the quadratic function y equals x squared minus 2x minus 2 is given below. So you are asked to find the value of y when x equals 3. So how we are going to find? So you have to substitute x equals 3. So what's the equation? Equation is y equals x squared minus 2x minus 2. Now substitute x equals 3. 3 squared minus 2 times 3 minus 2. And according to Bodmer's, you have to do this one first. So 9 minus 6 minus 2. 9 minus 6, 3. 3 minus 2, you get 1. So here you get 1 here. Then using the standard system of axes and a suitable scale, draw the graph of the given quadratic function on the provided graph paper according to the above table. So you have to select a scale. How we are going to select a scale? So first look at the minimum x value and the maximum minus 3 to 4. So in the graph paper we can take 10 squares, 1 unit along x-axis. What about y-axis? 13 to 6. 13 to minus 2. So you can't take 10 squares, 1 unit there. So what you have to do? We'll take 10 squares, 2 units along y-axis. So first thing, you start from minus 3. Minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0. So we can draw the y-axis here. So let's first draw the y-axis here. And then you can scale it from the maximum value. So what's the maximum? 30. We'll take 14 and start from here. So I'm taking 2 units for 10 squares. 14, then 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 0. Now this is the x-axis and then minus 2. What's the minimum? Minus 3. So we can take up to minus 4. Now let's draw the horizontal line, x-axis. So you get x here and y. Now we will take 10 squares, 1 unit along x-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4. What about other side? You get minus 1, minus 2. And you need minus 3 as well. So you get 1 mark for scaling the 2 axes. Then what you do? Write down the scale. The other important thing is to write down the scale. So we took a long x-axis. So this way, 0.1, because 10 squares, 1 unit. What about very small square? 1 over 10, that means 0.1. What about y-axis? 10 squares, 2 units. 2 divided by 10, that's 0.2. Now we'll mark the points. So we'll mark the points. Minus 3, 13. Minus 3, 13 is here. Minus 2, 6. Minus 1 and 1. 0 minus 2. 1 minus 3. 2 minus 2. 3, 1. And 4, 6. Then you have to connect smoothly. So I can take the ruler only to connect the last 2 points, not the whole thing, because these 2 points are far away. Now we'll smoothly connect the other points with the pencil. So let's try to draw the smooth curve. So I can start from vertex point and smoothly connect up to this point. And what about this side? Now we'll take this side. We'll start from here and smoothly connect this. So this is the quadratic graph given. So what's the next one? So this one is just to sketch the graph. Now we'll give marks for these 2 parts. So normally you are getting 1 mark for finding this value. So you are getting 1 mark for finding this value. And then normally for the graph you get 3 marks. 1 to adjust the scale, 1 to adjust the scale, and then marking the points 1 mark, and smoothly connecting you get another 1 point. So altogether you got 4 marks. Now let's do the other parts. Now let's see what are the other questions. Using the graph that you drew, write the interval of values of x on which the function is positive and increasing. Positive and increasing. So which side is positive? So this is positive, means above the x-axis. But positive and increasing, which part? We can see only this part is positive slope as well as increasing. So you have to refer this value. What is this value? So you get 2.7. 2.7 onwards. So how you write down the inequality? X is greater than 2.7. So this here to here. Or you can write, you will get marks here to here as well. But normally a quadratic graph, it goes to infinity. So you can write x greater than 2.7. What about the other one? Write the coordinates of the minimum point of the graph and thereby write the quadratic function in the form x minus a squared plus b. Here a and b are constants. So how we are finding the vertex point? Vertex point is the minimum value. So 1 minus 3. So 1 minus 3 is the vertex point. So how we are going to write down in this form? We know that when you are writing in this form, a becomes the x coordinate and b becomes the y coordinate of the vertex point. So let's write accordingly. So y equals x minus 1 squared. And what about b? B should be minus 3. So let's see how many marks you are getting for this part. These 2 parts, you are getting 1 mark for identifying the minimum point, and to get this equation, you get 1 mark. And what about this one? X greater than 2.7, you get 2 marks. So we gave 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have to do another 1 part. Let's say part C. By considering the x-coordinate of an intersection point of the graph and the line y equals 0. What is y equals 0? That's the x line. Find a value for root 3 to the nearest first decimal place. So when you refer the graph, when y equals 0, what are the 2 points? One point is 2.7 and the other point is minus, here this point, minus 0.8. So you get two values when y equals 0. So first we'll write down that y equals 0, x coordinates are either 2.7 or minus 0.8. But they want only the positive value for root 3. So to get the positive value, we have to take the positive value of x. So what's the equation we found? X minus 1 squared minus 3. Y equals x minus 1 squared minus 3. Now let's take when y equals 0. What happens? X minus 1 squared minus 3. Take it to the other side. X minus 1 squared is equal to 3. Take square root both sides. X minus 1 becomes plus or minus root 3. When you are taking square root, remember to take both plus and minus. Then what is x? No, we need not x, we need root 3. So to get the positive root 3, we take the positive value of here, the bigger one, 2.7 minus 1. What is the answer? You get 1.7 as the root 3 value to the nearest first decimal place. So let's give the other marks. So according to this one marking scheme, so you get 2 marks for this part. So altogether, how many marks we gave? We gave 10 marks for first question. Let's take the second question now. It's about percentages and monthly installments are there. So let's see what we can do here. A television set can be purchased by making an initial payment of 8,000 rupees and paying the remainder in installments. Then a television set which is sold outright for 80,000 rupees can be purchased by making a down payment of 8,000 rupees and paying the remainder in 18 equal monthly installments. Here, an annual interest rate of 24% is charged and the interest is calculated on the reducing balance method. How much is the monthly installment that has to be paid when a television set is purchased in this manner? So, the television set is 8,000 rupees, but down payment is 8,000. So, you have to find out the balance first. So, let's find out the amount to be paid first. Amount to be paid. So, television set is 80,000 rupees. Then the amount paid, that's the down payment, is 8,000. So when you subtract 8,000, this is the amount you have to pay. So that's 72,000 rupees. Then what you do? So it says annual interest rate is 24%. So we can find out the installment amount without the interest first, because there are 18 equal monthly installments are there. Amount of installment without the interest. What's the amount? 72,000 you have to divide by how many equal installments? 18 equal installments. So divide by 18. What's the value? 4, here 4,000. Then you can find the interest. Interest is 24%. So 4,000, that's the monthly installment. So you have to take 24%, but you have to divide by 12 because this is the annual interest. To get monthly interest, you have to divide this by 12. So what's the interest per month? 2 zeros get cancelled out. So 80 rupees per month. Now, this is paying according to the reducing balance method. So you have to calculate the month's units. So what's the month's unit? Month's units are, so this is 18 equal months. So 18 into 19 over 2. N into n plus 1 divided by 2. So you get 2 times 9. Now multiply 9 times 9, 81. 8 remaining. 9 times 1, 9 plus 8, 17. So 171 months units are there. Now we can find out the total interest to be paid. What's the total interest to be paid? Total interest to be paid, that's 171 months units are there and 80 rupees per month. So 80 times 171. 0. 8 times 1, 8. 8 times 7, 56. 5 remaining. 8 times 1, 8 plus 5, 13. So 13,680 rupees. Now interest is this, and what is the amount to be paid? 72,000. So what's the total amount? Altogether, you can add the interest to the amount. Total amount to be paid, that's 13,680 plus 72,000 rupees. What's the total? 0, 8, 6, 3 plus 2, 5, 7 plus 1, 8. 85,608. Now the question asks to find out the monthly installment to be paid. So there are 171 months units we calculated, and we have 18 equal months. So you have to divide this amount by 18 to get the final answer. So let's do that. So what's the installment per month? So 85,680 divided by 18. So let's divide by 6 first. 6 times 3. 6 times 1, 6. 2 remaining, 25. 6 times 4, 1 remaining. So 6 times, for 16, 6 times 2. 12, 48, 6 times 8. And then 0. Now we can divide by 3. 3 times 5, 15. So 3 times 4, 12. 22, 3 times 7, 21. For 18, 3 times 6. So the installment needs to pay is 4,760 rupees. So this is the whole question. So no parts given. So you need to be careful. So you have to do all the steps, step by step, to get the final answer. So for each part you get marks. So let's see the marking scheme and give the marks. So when you look at the marking scheme, it says 1 mark for this part, finding this answer. Then monthly installment, getting 4,000 rupees, 1 mark. And for 80 rupees, getting 2 marks here. And then calculating months units, 1 mark. And finding interest to be paid, that's 1 mark. So how many marks given? 1, 2, 3, 4. Six marks given. How many marks given? 6 marks altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then adding these two values, and here you get 2 marks. That's 8. And finally getting this answer, that's 2 marks. So altogether 10 marks for the whole question. Let's take the next one. Question number 3. It's about algebra. So you have to create simultaneous equations, and then for the second part you are getting an inequality. Let's do this one. Part A. The classrooms is a primary school have only square tables and round tables. There are 4 chairs placed around each square table and 5 chairs placed around each round table. The number of square tables is 45, more than the number of round tables. The total number of chairs around all tables is 720. Taking the number of square tables as x. That's the most important part in the question. You need to identify what is x. And the number of round tables as y. Construct a pair of simultaneous equations, and by solving them, find separately the number of square tables and number of round tables in the classroom in the school. So what is x? First you need to write down what is x. That's number of square tables. So we'll take as square tables. And what is y? Round tables. Now, first part it says, there are 4 chairs placed around each square table and 5 chairs. And the total number, can you see here? The total number of chairs around all the tables is 720. So how you construct an equation for that? For each square table, 4 chairs. 4x is the total number of chairs there, because x number of square tables are there. Y number of round tables are there, each with 5 chairs. So what is the total? 5y. Altogether, that's 720. So that's your first equation. What about the second one? Second equation is here. The number of square tables is 45 more than the number of round tables. So square tables, that's x equals 45 more than the other. 45 plus y. Y plus 45. That's your second equation. 2 unknowns, 2 equations. That's called simultaneous equations. How we are going to solve these 2 equations? You can either take y to this side and solve, or substitution method. Can you remember substitution? We can substitute y plus 45 to this equation instead of y, and you get only the equation with y, and then find the y value. So let's use substitution method now. Substitute 2, equation 2 in 1. So I can write 4 instead of x. I can write y plus 45. then plus 5y equals 720. Now expand brackets. 4 times y, 4y, 4 times 45, 4 times 5, 20, 4 times 4, 16, plus 2, 18, plus 5y equals 720. Now 4y and 5y becomes 9y. Take 180 to the other side, subtract 720 minus 180. You get 4, 12, 1 remaining, 2 with 5. So divide both sides by 9. So what's the y value? 9 times 6, 54. So 60 is y. Now how you find the x value? You can take the second equation, substitute the y value there and find the x value. So let's do that now. X becomes 45 plus y. So 60 plus 45, you get 105. So you can write down what's y? Number of round tables. So number of round tables is 60 and number of square tables (105) because we took x as number of square tables. So let's see how many marks we can give for this question. We are getting 2 marks. We can give 2 marks for this part, creating the 2 equations and solving and finding the x and y. So y value we can give 4 marks for each step, 1 mark like, so 4 marks for this part, and then 1 mark given for x value. So altogether 7 marks there. So you get 3 marks for part B. Part B is an inequality. 2 inequalities are there. Write all the integral values of x that satisfy both the above inequalities. So integral values means integers. So you have to solve separately and find out the common region. So let's take the first one. X minus 1 is less than or equal to 1. Second one is 2x minus 1 is greater than minus 2. Now solve the 2 inequalities. Take minus 1 to the other side. You get x equal less than or equal to 1 plus 1, 2. What about this one? 2x. Take minus 1 to the other side. That becomes positive 1. Minus 2 plus 1. Minus 2 plus 1 is minus 1. Divide both sides by 2. You get x is greater than minus half. Let's draw the number line and see. 0, 1, 2, 3, minus 1, minus 2. And here for the first one, x less than or equal to 2. So 2 is included. So you draw a solid circle. And less than or equal to 2, that means to the left. X greater than minus half. So minus half is not included. So minus half is here, somewhere there in between 0 and minus 1. And then greater than is to this side. Now you need to find out the common region. What's the common region? You can see here to here is the common region that you get 2 lines. So how you write down the solutions? X should be in between. X should be in between minus half and 2 but 2 is included. But they are asking all the integral values of x that satisfy. So what are the integral solutions? Those are integers. 0, 1, 2. So you can write all three values. 0, 1, 2. Let's see how we give marks for these two. So you get less than or equal to 1 mark. And x greater than minus half 1 mark. And for the integral solutions, you get 1 mark. So altogether, here's 3 marks, and previous part A, we gave 7 marks. Let's take question number 4. That's about statistics. So you have to find the mode, and then you have to find out the mean value, and using the mean value, you have to answer this question. Let's do that. Information obtained regarding the number of units of electricity consumed in a month by each house in a housing scheme consisting of 60 houses is given below. So that means number of houses altogether, 60 houses. What is the modal class of this frequency distribution? Modal class 1, which has the highest frequency. Which one we have? The highest frequency is, when you look at the frequency row, this is the highest one. So we write down the interval with that. So 120 to 140. So how many marks? For this one, you are just getting 1 mark. By taking the mid value of the modal class as the assumed mean, find the mean number of units of electricity that is consumed by a house in a month to the nearest whole number. So you have to take the assumed mean method. So when you are taking assumed mean method, you need 5 columns. So what are the intervals given? 60 to 80. All these are with size 20. So this is intervals, 60 to 80, 80 to 100, 100 to 120. So you write all the intervals in a column. You can't do with rows. So make sure that you first construct this table. Then you need to find the mid value. So mid value is the x. I'll write mid value as well. How you find the mid value of an interval? When you get class boundaries or class limits, you just add the two values and divide by 2. So 60 plus 80 divide by 2. So always you get the middle value. So what are the middle values? 70, 90, 110, 130, 150, 170 and 190. Then we'll write down the frequencies given. 4, 8, 11, 12. 10, 8, 7. And what's the total? Total is given as 60. Now we need to find out the deviation. How you are finding the deviation? Assumed mean you have to take as the mid value of the modal class. So mid value of the modal class. Modal class is here. Mid value is here. So we take this one as the assumed mean. Then taking that one, you have to calculate the deviation. So what's the equation to find out the deviation? D equals x minus a. So a is 130. So we'll find out deviations. So when you take the difference between this and a, you get 0 here. So what is the difference here? 130 and 110. That's minus 20, minus 40 and minus 60. This side you get positive values. So you get 30 and here positive 20, 40, 60. Now what's the next step? Multiply F and D, these two columns. 4 times minus 60, minus 240. Write all the negative values to the right and positive values to the left so that you can easily add separately. 8 times minus 40, minus 320. This one, 2, so minus 220. 12 times 0, 0. Now positive values. 10 times 20, 200. 8 times 40, 320. 7 times 60, 420. Now add positive values here. You get 4 plus 3, 7, 2, 9. Add negative numbers here. 4 plus 2, 6, 6 plus 2, 8. 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 2, 7. So what's the difference? 160. So the difference is 160. So the total of FDs is 160. So how you find out the mean? What's the equation to find out the mean? Assumed mean plus assumed mean plus sigma FD. What is sigma? Total of all FD column as well as total. You have to divide by total frequency, sigma F. So you calculate the mean value. Assumed mean is 130 and sigma FD is 160 and the total frequency is 60. Simplify, 0 get cancelled out. So here you get 130 plus 6 times 2, 12 for 40. 6 times 6, 36. Again 40. 6 times 6. So it's repeating. So what's the final answer? 132.66. They are asking the units, mean number of units to the nearest whole number. To the nearest whole number, you can round it to the nearest value. What's the nearest whole number? 133 units. Because 6 is there, more than 5, you add 1 to the previous one. So 133 units. So let's see how many marks we can give for this one. So we can give 1 mark for finding the mid values. This one. We can give 1 marks for finding the mid values. And then D values 1 mark, calculating the deviations, and FD 1 mark. So 3 and calculating the mean value 1 mark. So 1, 2, 3 and we gave previously 1 mark. 4 and here 5 and here last one rounded value you get 1 mark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 marks for that part. And we gave 1 mark previously. Altogether 7 marks we have given. Let's take the next part. Show that more than 3,900 units of electricity can be saved if the number of units of electricity that is consumed in 3 months by 100 houses that consume electricity in this manner is reduced by 10%. So how many units per month? This is per month, 133. So there are 3 months now. So what's the total? So we can find out consumed electricity is equal to, now here 133 we found for 1 month, and then multiplied by 3 to get 3 months. And how many houses are there? This is for one house, and there are 100 houses. And if it's reduced by 10%, you have to calculate how much it reduced. So 10% value of that. So 100 get cancelled out. So what's the answer? 3 times 3, 9, 9, 3 and 0. 3,990 units. So we can show that more than 3,000 units. So 3,990 is more than 3,900. So we showed that the total number of units, when you reduce by 10%, it's still more than 3,900. So how many marks for this one? This one you get 1 mark here, and writing down this one, 1 mark. And the last part, show that the maximum number of units of electricity that may have been consumed by the 23 houses that consume the least amount of electricity during the given month is less than the least number of units of electricity that may have been consumed by the 15 houses that consume the most amount of electricity that month from the 60 houses from which information was obtained. So we have to refer the table 23 and 15 houses. 23. So what is 23 means here? We'll look at the table here. 23, 8 plus 4, 12, 12 plus 11, 23. So this part is 23, but they are taking maximum. So you have to multiply 80, 84, 108 and 120, 11. And that value is less than the maximum value here. So you have to consider this side, this 15, 8 and 7, the last two sections with the maximum value. So you have to show that these two values are, this side is bigger than the other value. So let's do that. 80 times 4, 100 times 8 and 120 times 11. Hundred times 8, 120 times 11. Altogether how many? 320, 800. So here 11 times this, 0, 2, 2 remaining, 11 times 1, 11 plus 2, 13. So what's the total? 0, 2 and 8, Here 2 and 2, 4. 8 plus 3, 11. 11 plus 3, 14. 1 remaining, and this is 2440. So this is the maximum number of units. And let's find the minimum number of units. So for 15 houses. So let's take the 15 houses, last two columns. This one, 8 and 7, this is the least amount, 160 with 8 and 180 with 7. So here 160 with 8 and 180 with 7. So multiply 0, 48, 4 remaining, 8 times 1, 8 plus 4, 12. And here 0, 7 times 8, 56, 5 remaining, 7 times 1, 7 plus 5, 12. Now add those two, 0, 8 plus 6, 14, 1 remaining, 2 and 2, 4 and 1, 5, 1 remaining, 0, 8 plus 6, 14, 1 remaining, 2 and 2, 5 and 1 and 1, 2. So we can see that these maximum number of units 2440 is less than 2540. So the statement is correct. So we can say as 2440 is less than 2540, we can say the statement is correct. So let's see how many marks you get for this part. So the last part, so finding maximum number of units, 2440, just 1 mark. And for the minimum number of units, 2540, that's 1 mark. And altogether just 2 marks for the whole question. So 1 mark for both calculations and showing that this is less than this and the statement is true, we can give 1 mark. So we have given altogether 10 marks for this question. Let's take question number 5. It's about trigonometry. There's a diagram and you have to refer trig tables to find out solutions. Amal from the window A of a vertical building and Sumit from the window S of the building observe a vertical tree FT located on the same level ground 50 meters from the building. So we can straight away mark 50 meters is here. This is the tree and this is the building. And what is given? The window S and the top T of the tree are at the same level. So this is a horizontal line. Amal observes the top of the tree with an angle of depression. Amal is here. Angle of depression. This is the top of the tree with the angle of depression of 22 degrees. So this angle is 22 degrees. Angle of depression. And it says copy the figure onto your answer script and include the given information in it. So we can mark just the angle of depression and 50 meters. And what else we can mark? We know that ST is the horizontal line and the building is the vertical line. So these angles are 90 degrees. These are 90 degrees. So you have to mark that as well to get full marks here. So how many marks for this part? So you are getting 3 marks for marking these values. 1, 2, 3. By using the trigonometric ratios, do the following calculations. Find the height SA. This height between the two windows S and A. Disregard the heights of the window. So we know that this is 22. We marked that before. And this is 90 degrees. And this is 50 meters. Now we need to find out this part. What is the suitable trig ratio? Now if this is 22, we know that alternate angles are equal. This is 22. To this triangle, ATS triangle, this is the opposite. And this is the adjacent. Opposite over adjacent, what is the suitable trig ratio? That's tangent. So we can take tan 22 is what? Opposite is the value SA, the value we need to find, and the adjacent 50 meters. If this is 50, this is also 50 because this is the horizontal line. So what is SA? SA value is 50 times tan 22 value. Now you need to refer tangent table. So let's use the tangent table and find out. Let's use tangent table to find out the value, tan 22 value. So tan 22 is 0.4040. Now we'll multiply. Put 0 and multiply by 5. 5 times 0, 0. 5 times 4, 20. 5 times 4, 20. But we have to keep 4 decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what's the answer? It's 20.2. It's 20.2 meters. And here you can keep the decimal place. So let's see how many marks we can give for this part. 1 mark for writing down the correct ratio and using the table. Tan 22, 1 mark, and finding the answer, 1 mark. So 3 marks given for this part. Let's take part 2. The length of a wire drawn from the window A to the foot of the tree is 60 meters. So that means AF. AF is given 60 meters. Find the magnitude of the angle between the wire and wire AF and the vertical wall AB. So they want this angle to find. Let's take theta. How we are going to do that? We know this is 50 given in the question. Now what is the suitable ratio? Now you can take AFB triangle. To this angle, this is opposite. FB is the opposite. And what else we know? Hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is 60. Opposite and hypotenuse. What's the suitable trig ratio? That's sine ratio. So you can use sine ratio for that. Sine theta equals opposite. Opposite is 50 over hypotenuse is 60. So what's the value? When you divide, you get 5 over 6. You get 6 times 8, 48. For 20, 6 times 3, 18. So 2 remaining. For 20 again, 6 times 3. So this is repeating. So 0.8333. Now, how do you find out the angle now? Sine ratio is known and you are asked to find out the angle. So we have to take sine inverse. Like taking antilog, you have to take sine inverse of this answer. So you have to refer the sine table and see where you get this value. So let's do that. 0.8333. So check the table and see where you get 0.8333. So that's in the second table. So let's see. 8333. 8339 is there, but here 8323 is there. So we need another 10. We can refer here. So that's 6. So what's the value? 56 and 26. 56 and 26 is the sine inverse value. 56 and 26. So 56 degrees and 26 minutes is the angle required. So what's the angle? That's FB. We can mark it as FAB. FAB angle is 56 degrees and 26 minutes. Let's see how many marks we can give for this one. So we can give 1 mark here, taking the sine ratio, and again calculate the sine here, divide and take the sine inverse 1 mark, and for the answer you get 1 mark. So 3 marks for that question as well. Part C, give reasons why FB is greater than AB. FB, we already know that's 50. And we know AF, the wire is 60 meters. And we need to find out AB first. So how we are going to find out AB? We know this is a right angle triangle. How we can find? You can use Pythagoras theorem. So we know the hypotenuse and one side, and we can easily find out the other side by using Pythagoras theorem. So let's use Pythagoras theorem. So what is AB squared? AB squared is equal to 60 squared minus 50 squared. Because we know hypotenuse squared is equal to 50 squared plus AB squared. When you take it to the other side, that becomes minus. So what's the value? Either you can use difference between two square terms or just find the square term. So 0, 0, 6 times 6, 36. 50 times 50, 0, 0. 5 times 5, 25. Take the difference. 1100. So AB squared is 1100. And we know that FB squared. What is FB squared? 50 times 50. That's 50 squared. That's 2500. So when you take the square numbers, which one is bigger? We can see that FB squared is greater than AB squared. Because 2500 is bigger than 1100. Now when you take square root, we get FB is greater than AB. That's what we need to find. FB is greater than AB. So using Pythagoras theorem, easily you can find the answer. So let's give marks for this part. So you are getting only 1 mark. For the whole thing, you get only 1 mark. So let's see how many marks we have given for this question. Let's check how many marks we have given to all questions. So here This is 3 marks here. 3 and 3, 6. 6 and 3, 9. And 1 mark. For this one, we have given 10 marks for the whole question. Question number 6. This is about algebra. So you have to show that equation and then using the root 10 value, you have to find out the answer. So let's do this. Part 1. The length of a side of the square lamina B is 4 cm more than the length of a side of the square lamina A. So that means both laminas are squares. So let's take lamina A should be smaller than lamina B. So both are squares. The length of side of the square lamina B is 4 centimeters more than the length of the side of the square lamina A. So you have to take this one by taking the length of the side of lamina A as x. So we can write this is x and x. What about the length of lamina B then? It's 4 centimeters more than this length. So x plus 4. This is also square lamina. Both sides are equal. Then the sum of the areas of the two laminas is 88 square centimeters. So you have to construct the equation, quadratic equation, this one, using the given information. So how you are writing the total area, the sum of areas. Area of A is length into width, x squared. So total area I can write x into x, x squared. Then this one, x plus 4 into x plus 4, x plus 4 squared. The total area is equal to 88. So you can write this equation and by simplifying you can get the equation. Let's do that. X squared. How you expand this one? If you can't do at once, you take separately. X plus 4 into x plus 4 and expand brackets using FOIL. So you get x squared plus 4x and 4x, you get 8x. 4 times 4, 16. Or if you are doing at once, first term squared, last term squared, and the middle term is the 2 times the product. So that's equal to 88. When you simplify, you get 2x squared plus 8x. 16 minus 88. So 2x squared plus 8x. Subtract these two, you get minus 72. Now divide the whole equation by 2. So you get x squared plus 4x minus 36 is equal to 0. This is the equation given in the question. X squared plus 4x minus 36 is equal to 0. So for this part, how many marks you are getting? You are getting 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 marks. Constructing. Finding the area for A, 1 mark. Finding the area of B, 1 mark. And then construct the equation, another 1 mark. And simplify and get the final answer, another 1 mark. So 4 marks for that question. By taking the value of root 10 as 3.16, find the length of a side of lamina A. So that means you have to solve the quadratic equation and find the x value. So what's the equation we got? X squared plus 4x minus 36 is equal to 0. So what are the methods we can use to solve this equation? You can either use quadratic formula or completing square method. Can we factorize? First check whether you can factorize. Definitely you can't because there's a root 10 value is given. So that means you are getting a third value. Either you can use the quadratic formula or using completing square method you can find x. So let's use completing square method. How you find out the x value? You keep these two terms and take 36 to the other side. Minus 36 becomes 36. Then you have to add a constant to get a square term. How you find the constant? You divide the x term by 2 and square it. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, 2 squared is 4. So that means you have to add 4 to get a square term. So you have to do the same thing for the other side because this is an equation. So how can you write down this one as a square term? Square root of x squared is x, square root of 4 is 2, and this sign is addition. So x plus 2 squared. 36 plus 4, that's 40. Now take square root both sides. You get x plus 2 is equal to plus or minus square root 40. How you simplify 40? You have to write down the maximum square number. So 4 times 10, you can write as 4 times 10. And then you can write separately. Square root of 4 into square root of 10. Square root of 4 is 2. So you can simplify square root 40 to 2 root 10. Plus or minus 2 root 10. So what's the x value? Take 2 to the other side. You get minus 2 plus or minus 2 root 10. So you get one solution with plus and the other solution with negative answer. So when you substitute root 10 value 3.16. 3.16. You get minus 2 plus 2 times 6, 12, 1 remaining. 2 times 1, 2 plus 1, 3. 2 times 3, 6. So you get 6 minus 2, that's 4.32. You get 4.32 or you get minus 2 minus 6.32, that means minus 8.32. This is about a length. X is a length. Can you get a negative answer? You can't get a negative solution for x because it's a length. So you can ignore this value and only take 4.32. So what's the question? They want to find out the length of a side lamina A. That means solving for A, solving for x. So what's the final answer? Length of lamina A 4.32, and this is not given the units. So let's see whether there are units. If there are no units, you can just write units there. The word units if the proper units are not given. So let's see how many marks for this part. So here solving, here taking the square term first. We have to give 2 marks there. Using any method, correct method, there are 2 marks for square root 40 here. And then substituting values, that's here 1 mark. And for the final answer, another 1 mark. So 3 marks for that question. Part 3, show that the difference in the areas of the 2 laminas is 8 times 6.32. So we found x is 4.32. So what's the area of lamina A? X squared. That means 4.32 squared. What's the area of lamina B? X plus 4 is the length of one side. So 4 and 4.32, that becomes 8.32 is one side, that's squared. So the difference, what is the difference? Is 8.32 squared minus 4.32 squared. You can easily use difference between 2 squared terms. Can you remember difference between 2 squared terms? If it's a squared minus b squared, you can straight away write down one factor as a plus b and the other factor as a minus b. So we'll use that. So you can write 8.32 minus 4.32 and 8.32 plus 4.32. Why we are using this method? Because it's easy. Otherwise, you have to find 8.32 squared value. You have to find 4.32 squared value. So that means long multiplication is there. So it takes time. This way, it's easy to calculate the value. So 3, 2 get cancelled out. 8 minus 4 is 4 times, what's the addition here? 8 plus 4, 12.64. Now what we have to show that 8 times something. So we can take 2 from that. So that means you can divide this by 2 and write down 6.32. Because we need to write in that form 8 times 6.32. So here we can easily write down this one as 8 times 6.32. And the units are given square centimeters. So that means centimeters are given. In the previous part, can you remember we put units? That means let's take where the centimeters are given. In the question, it's x centimeters. So we can write centimeters here. You don't have to write down units. So this one, write centimeter as the unit. So this one, centimeter square. So how many marks for this part? You are getting 2 marks. So let's see whether we gave 10 marks for the whole question.